Okay, so we're gonna record a storytime video. That's a thing that people do. I want to do a video, but I don't really have a whole lot of food in my house, and I'm on a diet, so I'm kind of like So instead, I'm just gonna tell a story while I drink my protein shake. Okay. So a million years ago, this is probably 1997, I was living on Howard Air Force Base in Panama, Central America. And living on a military base is a very, very strange experience. There's only so much trouble you can get into as a kid. So, of course, all the kids get into the maximum amount of trouble possible, which means they're drinking all the time. It doesn't matter how old you are, just loaded. Everybody's loaded the whole damn time. Because, I mean, what really can you do? You're on a military base. You can't really leave. Well, you can during the day, but, at night. So anyway, I was a super nerd. I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and we would always play over at my friend Tony's house. Now, for a little bit of context further on in the story, Tony was a super nerd, a really cool guy, but he also had some really interesting parents. His mom was an old hippie, and his dad was a radio operator who had the most bizarre, booming voice, who sounded like Jabba the Hutt. I'm not fucking around. He sounded like Jabba the Hutt. He's also someone who I thought had a massive tumor. Like, you see those specials, like, my 500-pound tumor, and, like, they had to surgically remove this massive tumor off this woman. It was just a beer gut, but fuck me. It was the biggest beer gut I'd ever seen in my life. But he was a radio operator, so he never said yes. He'd say, affirmative. And he'd never say no. He'd say, negative. And he said no a lot, so we started calling him Negative the Hutt. That was his name. So anyway, one night we are we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and the whole crew is there. All of the super nerds, very Stranger Things except in high school and a bunch of perverts. And one of my friends, who was much older than me, brought over his younger sister, who was the same age as me and in my class. And this girl had been pretty thirsty for me for a while. She was pretty, in a nerdy kind of way. But she was very, like, So, she comes over, we roll her up a character, and we're all playing Dungeons and Dragons. We're all having a good time. And drinking, and drinking, and drinking. And everybody's getting really annoyed because her character and my character just keep flirting with each other, and it's being really gross, and everybody's getting really pissed off. They're like, oh my god. The thirst. You could feel the thirst in the air between the two of us. So, as the night progresses, eventually, everyone except for myself, this girl, and my buddy Adam disappears. Like, they get really drunk and suddenly they just disappear. And so I go outside, and how these houses are on Howard Air Force Base was the bottom floor was 2 car parks, and then effectively what was used as a maid's quarters in a lot of places. It's a different time when they were built, but basically like a concrete shed, and that's where we were. And then the second floor was the house. All these dudes are laying in the carport, passed out drunk. Everybody. It looks like a war zone. And so I start picking them up, pushing them upstairs. All right, go to bed. All right, go to bed. All right, go to bed. And I go back downstairs. And here's where everything gets really weird. Now, I don't have a lot of experience at this time drinking. My buddy Adam does, so he's smart enough just to sit in his chair the whole night, blasting 80s butt rock. And that was his thing. He was obsessed with 2 things: trying to look like Sting and listening to 80s butt rock. So he's sitting in this doorway, and he's blasting, come on, feeling right, girls, rock your boys, just getting wasted. And me and this girl decide that we gotta figure out some way to amuse ourselves. And I'm like, well, how about we play strip poker? Hey. And she says, no, I'm not comfortable getting naked. How about we play deed poker? The hell is deed poker? And it's basically like truth or dare, but with playing poker. That's it. That's all it is. I dare you. If I win, you have to do this. If I win, you have to do that. I'll spare you the exceptionally lewd details of all sorts of crazy shit that starts happening. But it's all very awkward. Very awkward. And we both forgot that my buddy is even there. That he's sitting there just drinking and just like, these stupid kids. And he's like a year older than me, so. Why spare the details? Because, like, honestly, it's just, like, dry humping on each other and, like, kind of making out and, like, I don't know. It's what you'd expect. But it comes down to the end of the night. We're going to play one last hand, and she says, look, if I win, I'm going to take you into that bathroom over there, and I'm going to suck your dick. And I look over, and I'm like, well, obviously, of course, listen, getting a blowjob sounds like a great idea. But I look at that bathroom, and that bathroom is full of Panamanian spiders and spunk. That's where all of us, like, would stash our porno mags and go in there and beat off. Like, it's a toxic waste dump. What else do you think is going to happen with a bunch of, like, high school kids with a room to do whatever the fuck they want to do in? It's disgusting. So I'm like, I am conflicted. How do I deal with this? Ooh. But ultimately I say, fine, I agree. And I look around, I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, what am I going to do? And I see a box of Lucky Charms. I'm like, all right, if I win, you have to eat a Lucky Charms marshmallow off the tip of my dick. Okay, a little weird, but okay, she says, as she's confused why I'm not, like, incredibly enthusiastic about getting a blowjob. So, well, we play, and boom, I nail it, and I win, because I'm really good at poker. And I picked out a pot of gold marshmallow. I don't know if they still have those anymore, but they had pot of gold marshmallows back then. I put it at the tip of my dick. She slurps it off, and I'm like, awesome, good night, I'm out of here, and I bolt upstairs. Now, one part of this is, like, I am kind of a bit nervous because I was 15 at the time, but also, I mean, God, that bathroom was really nasty. And I really don't think that the night could have gotten more memorable than that for me. So for me, I was done. I was ready to be totally and 100% done. So me and Adam both go upstairs and just flop onto the giant water bed where all the other dudes are sleeping. We just pass out drunk. Now, the punchline to the story is what happened that morning. So this poor girl, who really thought she was going to get some, and I still feel bad that I never gave her some, she goes staggering upstairs, and she goes and sees that there's all these dudes in a giant kitten pile passed out fucking drunk. She's like, well, fuck, okay. Well, I guess I'll go pass out on the couch. So she goes over to the couch. She, like, curls up into it. It's like a love seat. She passes out. The problem is, that couch is a very special place. No guy at that party would have dared to sleep on that couch. You don't even sit on that couch. That couch belongs to Negative. You do not sit on Negative's throne, because he needs a love seat because he's a big fat piece of shit. So she wakes up. She wakes up to this massive man wearing only a pair of stained tidy whities sitting on the couch, and she's spooning him. And he's just sitting there watching TV and eating his cereal. And she goes, huh? And he looks down at her with his giant jowls. He goes, have too much to drink last night? Ho, 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 ho. And the mountain rumbles. And she got up and ran out of the house and never came back. Well, yeah, she was a preacher's daughter, too. I am actually probably going to hell.